Hello, everybody. This is Sean, and welcome to a very special episode of the Cabot Cove Confab podcast. Unfortunately, this week, it's not going to be about Murder, She Wrote. Why? Because Steve has to work on the night that we usually record. So blame Steve. Anyway, once upon a time, before we started the Cabot Cove Confab, right around COVID time, Steve and I started a podcast called Shit We Watch on Netflix. Since we weren't able to watch Murder, She Wrote for you today, I'm going to bring back an episode of Shit We Watch on Netflix from, I think it was 2018, in which we watch The Babysitter, which is a Netflix movie. It is a horror movie, and it is currently running and available on Netflix. So this week, I apologize for the lack of JB Fletcher, but sit down, grab a drink, and relax as Steve and I discuss 2017's The Babysitter.
Cole, you're too young to understand, okay? Just trust me. Fuck you! Cole? No, you know what? You deserve that what? Just because I'm 12 means I get to be treated like total shit by you and Jeremy and everyone else. You know what? You're Don Draper from Mad Men. How he's all cool and handsome and everybody loves him. And then he goes home and you find out he has a wife the whole time. He's such a piece of shit!
Did you just ruin Mad Men for me?
It's not even on anymore. You'll live.
Still.
Hello, movie fans, and welcome to the latest episode of Shit We Watch on Netflix. That over there is Steve.
And that strange-looking fellow over there is Sean.
And welcome.
Welcome. Hello. Good afternoon. We're doing it earlier this time.
Yeah, Inside Baseball, we normally record at like 6 at night on a Sunday, but for some reason Steve needs to record at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
And Sean just woke up.
And yeah, I just... No, I have slept until 2 in the afternoon, but I just feel weird podcasting and drinking at 2 in the afternoon.
It's so funny because I'm a morning person. You're a night person. And
yes.
So whenever we do conventions and stuff, it's kind of a weird dichotomy because you want me to stay up with you. And about 10 p.m., I start my eyelids get heavy. And I start to get a little slower than usual. Mm-hmm. But you're just getting started. Like you are ready to keep going until like 4 in the morning. That's why you sleep in
I could. I inherited this from my parents, who are both night owls, and I could literally stay up until, I think last night I stayed up until almost 4 o'clock playing video games. So,
what are you playing?
I was playing Among Us. Do you know what this is?
Yeah. So was that the one that just had a sequel come out like a couple of months back?
No, there's no sequel to this.
I think of The Last of Us. So what's Among Us about?
Among Us is a very simple game, graphics-wise, and you play it you can play with up to 10 people. I think it's 4 to 10, and you're basically in a little spaceship, and you have to run around the spaceship doing tasks, and if you complete all your tasks, you win. However, there's 1 or 2 amongst you who are what they call imposters, and the imposter's job is to run around and kill all the non-imposters. And if they manage to kill a certain number of non-imposters, then they win. And so I went on a Discord, which is just this, it's sort of like Skype calls. Like you can just go and like, oh, I want to talk to somebody about XYZ. You can type in XYZ and go into a server and talk to people. So this is a group of people that play online. Mm-hmm. And so you go in there, you go into a room, and you're talking with like 8-9 other people while you're playing this game with them. You put in the room code.
So okay, so it's the same people that you're playing with.
Yeah. And usually it's the same people that I'm playing with, and they're usually there every night of the week because they, like I, have not much of a life. But yeah,
interesting.
I play the Among Us Gamers, Gaymers, gamers, because as you know, there can be a lot of online hatred and homophobic remarks. So I am very intimidated playing with people online.
Yeah, it's kind of steered me away from online play. When it first started coming out, like on consoles, I was really big into it. I enjoyed it, but I started realizing that it was dominated by 12-year-olds that were like saying just nasty things. That and I don't mind a little. A little smack talk back and forth, but some of the stuff there was just too far, and it wasn't enjoyable. So I quit. I stopped playing games online just because of that. I don't know if it's gotten better. I don't know if companies like EA or Microsoft police those better, but I just haven't been back and that was probably over 10 years ago, probably more than that.
Yeah, it's still bad. It's because when I play Dead by Daylight, I get nasty messages sometimes.
Yeah, I think if there was a way to police that somehow, keep people online, they would have more people like myself that would jump on and play. But I just don't. I don't want to deal with that. I play a game to enjoy myself. I don't want it to. I don't know how you do it. Quite honest, because
I've had nothing but positive experiences playing with this group of people, which is why I've been playing the game more and more. Because they're not toxic, because it's like, and there's even like a straight guy that plays with us because he doesn't like the toxicity of the other people playing. Anyway, enough about me. How are you? What have you been doing with yourself?
Well, I've been playing a game as well. I got it last week. It's called Star Wars Squadrons. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's like an X-Wing TIE Fighter assault game where you pick your side, and it's actually got an online ability where you go into squadrons and you fight each other. I haven't done that. I've been playing the single player game and doing kind of matches with the computer AI. I had a lot of fun with it. I think it's a lot of fun. Yeah, so I'm just working through the story right now. But good times.
All right. Okay. Now, before we get to this week's horror comedy slasher, or whatever you want to call it, we are going to talk about Raised by Wolves. I almost said Dances with Wolves. But you chided me last time because I didn't watch the whole episode.
Right.
So...
I've been bugging you for a month, and you finally watch it, and then when we discuss it, I find out you didn't finish it. So I don't. That doesn't count that you watched it. You have to at least get to the credits to say, yes, I've seen it.
I literally only watched like half of it. I didn't realize it, and it was the better half that I didn't see.
I know.
I thought it was so depressing, and you were right. I stopped watching it right when it got like really fucking good. And who streams this? Is it HBO?
Yeah.
Well, they brilliant marketing by just putting the first episode on YouTube for everybody and their mother to watch. So you'd be like, fuck, I got to get HBO now.
Right?
Or is it Showtime? I don't know.
HBO.
Yeah, and so, I also want to watch Lovecraft Country, which also is on HBO, but anyway, yeah. So it was really good.
You liked it, okay. I thought you would like the ending. It's a slow, I like my sci-fi kind of a slow build-up. It definitely is that first half. But I really enjoyed, when Mother kind of reboots into her original form. I'm guessing that's what's happening because I haven't seen any of the other episodes. Because I think she was initially some kind of weapon used in war. And then somewhere or another she got reprogrammed to take on a more peaceful existence. That's my guess.
Yeah, she's obviously very old. It's intimated that she is malfunctioning, and I really liked the battle between the two androids. It was short, but
yeah, it was really well done.
And I have no idea what they're going to do next. Like, they end this first episode, and there's like a limited number of characters. They're stuck on this planet. What are they going to do next?
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
Are they going to try to indoctrinate Campion, into this religion? But yeah, folks, check that out on the YouTube over there. The Raised by Wolves, the first episode. So.
Yeah, it's very good. I'm glad you liked it. All right, well, let's talk about tonight's episode, The Babysitter. came out in 2000.
Babysitter, which for some reason I keep wanting to call the cheerleader, but it's not. It's the babysitter. There is a cheerleader in this.
Yeah, there's one cheerleader in here. Yeah,
but yeah, the babysitter. It's directed by a fellow named McG, which is not a rapper. I looked him up. He has directed a couple big budget, like Terminator Salvation. I think he directed.
Really?
Directed. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, and also starring Samara Weaving, who was in the very excellent Ready or Not movie, which came out I think last year. Love that movie as well. It's on Blu-ray.
Yeah, and this
That's
movie,
something that will.
I like to try to correlate this. What's this movie like? What does it remind me of? And we're kind of a cross between, I would say, Scott Pilgrim. I don't know if you ever saw that film.
Long time ago, yes.
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim. Love that film, by the way. And Home Alone.
Except really, really gory. Like,
yeah.
If you look at this movie takes about halfway through to turn into a horror movie, because starting out you think this is like a standard coming of age movie, like something like Lady Bird or Love, Simon or something like that.
Or Stand
Have
By
you ever
Me
seen
or
that
something.
Lady Bird?
No, never saw
Yeah,
it.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That Lady Bird and that Love, Simon too. But what I love about this movie is that everything going up to the point where it turns into a horror movie, everything is used in the horror portion of the movie. Let's start out with, we've got Cole. Young Cole, he's 12 years old. He's a bit of a nerd.
Yeah.
A bit of a geek. He gets picked on at school. And I can't remember the little girl's name. I'm sorry. The little girl that lives across the street. Melanie.
Yeah.
And her father's a douche. And he drives this big... He drives this big black car. I don't know what kind of car it is. You're into classic cars. Do you know what kind of car that is?
No, I'm not that much into them. Obviously, I would have told you, but no. But it's a very beautiful muscle car. Yeah. Yeah,
it's from 1974. Cole is picked on by the neighborhood bullies. 3 of them, championed by Jeremy, who is a nasty little motherfucker.
Yeah, I had a Jeremy in middle school.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. Looked kind of like that, too. I thought it was funny.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I had a Jeremy as well. My Jeremy was named Rick Schroeder. There were 2 Jeremys. Rick Schroeder. No, not Rick Schroeder. That's
From
somebody else.
Silver Spoons?
No.
Did he have an arcade in his living room?
His first name was Rick, and I can't remember his last name. And Ryan Poland. One ended up in prison. The other ended up dying in a car crash.
Oh.
I'm sure it had nothing to do with the Ouija board that I used at the time. But,
what? God, okay, we're having an off-air discussion. Okay.
So, yeah, Jeremy and his 2 punk kids, one of which looks like Andre the Giant Jr. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I could see that, sure.
And then there's Cole's babysitter, B played by Samara Weaving, who is actually really hot and really cool.
Yeah, she is very hot. Yeah, they definitely they picked I think the right actress for that role, because you immediately fall in love with her. Yeah,
absolutely, and they have chemistry. They totally have chemistry.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I'm sure when casting it, they probably wanted that, because there was a definite coming of age angst of young boy loving his extremely hot and nerdy babysitter. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only thing I found a little odd was I didn't feel like Cole was 12 years old. He felt older to me.
I think the actor is probably older. Judah Lewis is his name. Mm-hmm. Let's see. He was born. It doesn't say on IMDb. God damn it. You're supposed to tell us.
But, yeah, the bullies were hilarious. I mean, everything is played, not to laugh specifically, but there's a lot of humor. There's no laugh out loud moments, really. It's just there's some really humorous moments. And
there was one laugh out loud.
There were,
It was an actual 1 minute laugh that I thought was just extremely clever.
Yeah, well, I guess that's true. There were some moments, and I'll tell you which ones that I did laugh out loud. One of them I had to watch twice. But so yeah, the conversation that Cole has with the bullies, with Jeremy and his punks, is about talking about my balls, and Cole's like, why are you so interested in what I think about your balls? It was just these kind of conversations that kids would have. They're just. I thought it was funny. I thought it was very well written in the perspective of what it was like to be 12 years old.
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah.
But yeah, B ends up saving Cole from the bullies. Yeah. And she gives him a little advice. You see that he's got those puppy dog love eyes, and really, really admires her. Even though he even himself feels like he's too old for a babysitter, but he's more than happy to have her come over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The actor playing Cole is so good, and I'm glad that you mentioned it. That when the first few minutes of the film, she's not in it, but when she shows up, he completely changes, and he's so confident in himself, and he's so comfortable, and he does have puppy dog eyes. And he looks at her breasts when she reaches over to get something.
Oh,
and she
yeah.
catches him, but she lets it go because, boys will be boys.
Right.
And the big thing coming up is that Cole's mom and dad are going to go stay in a hotel for, I guess, the weekend. And during that time, she's going to be babysitting Cole.
Right. Yeah. And so
And
and by the way, Cole and his mother and father live in a beautiful suburbia area. The homes there are just absolutely gorgeous. I cannot imagine what those homes must cost in real life. But
their house reminded me of the house in Beetlejuice, but without all the ugly art from Catherine O'Hara.
It reminded me of the home in what was that anthology series that we've talked about? I don't know. For some reason, I'm drawing a blank.
American Horror Story.
American Horror Story, the first season. Yeah, it reminded me of that.
Yeah. So there's a couple things that are mentioned. There's the fact that Cole had a treehouse, but he's partially taken it down.
Yeah, and
you know
when they bring these things up, by the way, that they're going to be utilized later in the film. But go ahead. Yeah, so we got the treehouse, we got the cellar. What else?
The crawl space underneath the house, which is his mom is played by an actress, I can't remember her name, but damn, I thought she was Hilary Swank. She looked like a younger, prettier Hilary Swank. Mm-hmm. And the crawl space that we first see her in underneath the house, I don't know what the hell she's doing down there, but it's teeming with spiders. And we're talking motherfucking tarantulas, like totally non-realistic motherfucking
Oh, no,
tarantulas.
those were real. I think those were trained whatever.
Oh, yeah. They definitely had a spider handler on this film.
Spider. What a great title. What do you do for a living, Sean? Oh, I'm a spider handler.
I handle spiders. Yeah, there is such a thing.
Oh, no,
you ever
there's
see the
gotta
movie
be.
Creep Show?
It's gotta be, yeah.
Here's a fun fact. You ever see the movie Creep Show?
Yeah, of course.
You know the end of the movie where all those cockroaches come out of E.G. Marshall's body? Real, actual cockroaches. In fact, they had the handler of those cockroaches brought roaches from places on the earth nowhere near here. And as a result, we have cockroaches here in the United States that wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the movie Creep Show.
Really?
And that, yeah.
So they got loose and...
Yeah.
Really?
Exactly, yeah. So, anyway, I don't think that these spiders belong in this crawl space. If I had spiders like that in a crawl space...
Oh, hell, I'd move.
Yeah, I
House for sale.
Yeah. But they take care of them later on.
Yeah, so when B saves Cole from the bullies, she gives him some advice, which will come into play later. She says, next time they're chasing... Huh?
Yeah. Everything comes into play later.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I'm going to use it next time it happens to me, but if I'm being chased by some teenage 12-year-old bullies, I'm going to drop and then trip them over and then kick them in the dick. That's her advice to Cole.
Yep. Not in the dick, but not in the balls, but the dick.
In the dick,
I mean, it wouldn't... I guess it would hurt to be kicked in the dick, but...
Yeah,
the
it hurt
balls
more than
kinda...
balls. Yeah, that's the sweet spot. Or the not-so-sweet spot, I guess.
Or sweet spot, depending on what you're into.
Some people like that, yes, they do.
Yeah, but, use a good manscaper before you go and do that. Anyway. Yeah.
We also get to meet the father. Now, Cole's parents seem really cool. Like, the mother, she's got no fear. She takes her son using the word pussy with stride. If my kids said that, I'd probably, be upset. Not mad, but just bothered. But yeah, the father is teaching his son how to drive. A real cool dad, by the way.
And Cole's afraid of learning how to drive, which I was afraid to. By the way, you don't teach your 12-year-old to drive, do you?
That's too young. I think the father just wanted him to get used to it. I don't know. That does seem awfully young to start.
But I like that they're in the high school parking lot, which is exactly where I learned how to drive.
That looked like a racetrack to me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what it was, but the dad is watching Mad Men on his computer,
Yeah.
and Cole's like, I want to watch that. And he's like, nah, maybe when you're older. Have you ever seen that show?
I never saw it. No.
I watched about as much of it as Cole did to say that I do not like this show.
I think it's funny. So yeah, his parents won't let him watch it. So what does he do? He goes back to his room and he Googles it. Now Google comes into play a lot. I feel like I don't think that was a paid sponsor, but just kind of, I guess, anchoring the story in current times. So if you don't know something, you just Google it. So he Googled Mad Men and then proceeded to watch it that evening.
Because that's how you watch movies. You just Google them and you watch them.
Yeah, that's how it works. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of movies that they just use like a fake search engine, like, searchit.com. Mm-hmm. But no, they don't.
No, they actually used it pretty accurately here. So yeah, we find out the parents are going to do a getaway. They're going to the local Hyatt to fuck. Basically, that's what Melanie's theory is. That the parents are just getting away so they can have a romantic weekend together.
Wait, let's talk about the 1-minute scene with the knife, because that kind of leads into what you're talking about there.
The 1 minute what?
The 1-minute scene involving the knife. Cole is using a knife to try to repair one of his. He's
right.
into remote control cars.
Yes, he likes remote control
And
cars.
the dad he's using a big butcher's knife to try to, and like his dad walks in and is like, "Hey, Cole, let me take that away from you. You're not supposed to use that. I use that." And he puts it in the dishwasher for some reason. And I remember thinking,
because he got grease all over it.
Yeah, I remember thinking, that knife is going to come into play later on.
Of course.
Yes, it was going to come into play later on.
But they use it as character development. We find out, the father says something like, you can't be using this knife. But he's not scolding him. He's just trying to joke with his son and say, you're not allowed to use this knife. You only use it if you're going to use a flank steak. And if you do, then if you use it for that, then I'll be out of a job and I'll be useless.
Yeah.
He's
really
it's
sweet.
Fun dad.
Yeah. And so Cole, I don't know what he was doing. I guess he was spying on B, and he finds out that she's like sort of like with this really geeky, nerdy guy, like totally.
Oh
geeky
yeah,
and nerdy.
Samuel. Yeah. So he's watching B from like across the parking lot. And she's flirting with this nerdy guy. And, he gets a little jealous. Which is a little odd, because she's so attractive. Why would she be so concerned with she could probably have any guy at the school. But,
right.
Yeah.
So it's babysitting night. Mom and Dad are getting ready to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize this until the second time that I saw it. But the whole scene when B arrives at the house is the POV of Cole. So we see, he opens the door, he looks in the mirror.
So you have seen this film before this review?
I watched it about maybe 2 or 3 weeks before this.
Oh, okay.
For the first time. And then I watched it again, of course, for our recording, because I did not remember all of it. Yeah. Naturally, when I saw it, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna choose this to be on the podcast, because obviously I like it. Okay.
But yeah, so B and Cole are having this great time. They're talking about, they're making pizzas, they're going swimming, they're just having the best, watching a movie together.
Oh my God, they are watching a movie in the backyard on a giant screen. Mm-hmm. I want that. Mm-hmm. I want that. In fact, everything that they're doing is like perfect boyfriend-girlfriend stuff.
Yeah.
And it's so sweet, and it's so cool, and I'm so jealous because, I want to do that with somebody. But nobody will do that with me.
Aw. You really get the impression, maybe you need to find a babysitter, like B.
I'm sure there's somebody online.
And then she can drug you and steal your innocent blood. But, we're getting ahead of ourselves. So, Yeah, you really get a feeling during these scenes together that B and Cole, they really do have an affection for one another. It doesn't feel forced or faked. I like the little hypothetical question Cole presents about if you could have, the 5 best sci-fi characters on one starship to defeat the big bad, who would they be? I've never played that, but I thought that was a fun game. So B picked Kirk, Picard, Will Smith, obviously from Star Trek, Will Smith, Jeff Goldblum from Independence Day, and then Ripley, and then a xenomorph egg from Alien movies. I thought that was a pretty interesting combination. Fun, so you kind of get that nerdiness factor there, that she's into that shit.
And what's so great about this montage leading up to that conversation is that it's just so organic. I could swear that I kind of forgot that I was watching a movie, and I felt like I was hanging out with a couple friends, listening to a podcast, and feeling like I'm part of their group. It does a really good job of that. It's really good. And coming from this director, it's not unexpected because he's directed a lot of movies like that in the past. So,
now I'm really curious what other films he's made that I've already seen. So I didn't look into that. I usually look into the actor's history, but I need to check that out. But he said Terminator Salvation was one of them, huh?
Yeah, hold on one second. I'll find out for you.
Oh.
He did. Mick G directed. By the way, his real name is Joseph McGinty Nickel.
Well, I would hope that was his
original
name.
And he's white. He did Charlie's Angels, the 2003 one, Terminator Salvation, We Are Marshall, the old Charlie's Angels from the 2000, and that was all before Rim of the World, Shadowhunters. A lot of stuff that I haven't heard of, but maybe you have seen.
I'm going to say I do like his style of direction, so I may have to check those other films out. But they also, Cole and B, talk about Melanie. Obviously, Cole doesn't want to talk about Melanie just yet because he's trying to hook up with his babysitter. and then it turns to where B says, "Well, it's time for bed." Cole says, "I'm not really that tired," so B offers to give him a shot of some Jameson, I think it was. I can't remember. So she
some sort of caramel colored drink.
Yeah, a double shot. I wish my babysitter. Well, I never had a babysitter, but if I had a babysitter, I definitely would like that.
Wait a minute, you've never had a babysitter?
Never had a babysitter, no.
Really?
Yeah.
I was at my grandmother's funeral a few months ago, and this old lady came up to me. She goes, "Are you Sean?" I'm like, "Yeah." "I used to babysit you."
Was she as hot looking as B, or?
Definitely not as hot looking as B. In fact, but I think that my babysitters objectively were kind of hot. No, wait, not her. Yeah, I had some babysitters that were hot, I think. Pretty sure. Because I was raised by a single mom the first 4 years of my life, and whenever my mom wanted to go out in the town, she'd have to get a babysitter. And one time, I think she would hire like kids of people that she worked with, teenagers. And one time, I think there was a guy. It was her boss's son came to babysit me, and we played Clue. I don't know why I remember that.
Oh.
But 2 people playing Clue. But when you're 6 years old, it doesn't matter.
And that would explain your fascination and love for the game.
Was that
the first time you played Clue? That of your memory? Was that the first time?
No, the first time I played Clue was with my mom, and she had the 1970s style board game that had the actual photographs of the suspects instead of just drawings. And the rooms on the board were photographs, and they actually had photographs of weapons. It was pretty cool, and I have a version of that game in my closet right now.
Listeners. By the way, Sean collects Clue games.
Yes,
or Cluedo if you're overseas.
Mm-hmm.
I got to view this collection, and it's quite surprisingly how many Clue versions there are. And yeah, I think Sean probably has 80% of them. It seems like. Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot more, but you've got most of them.
There's ones that I haven't opened up yet. There's an Aliens versus Predator Clue game.
Oh,
Like,
really?
why? When they
How?
were thinking of, well, what are we going to make a Clue game of? You know, I get The Simpsons. I get Bob's Burgers. I get Golden Girls. Golden Girls
that's
is
right.
one of my favorite ones. Yeah, it's actually, and it looks really good. And what's that show from Showtime? The with the fucking shit.
Game of Thrones?
That show with the Frankenstein and the Dracula. Penny Dreadful. There was a Penny Dreadful one that's really awesome too. Even though I don't like that show particularly.
Never watched it. Okay,
All right.
so Cole goes upstairs, and B kind of tucks him in.
Oh wait, he
Yeah.
dumps out the drink that she pours.
Oh,
on.
right. So he doesn't drink the
dumps-
shots. Yeah, he's able to distract her, and he dumps it into the poor plant. Well, I shouldn't say poor plant. Plant's probably loving life right there, and then withers and dies. But yeah, so he doesn't take this drink, which we all, as the audience, assume has probably been drugged, because this has got to turn south at some point, right? It's just too perfect.
Yeah.
And we know who the villain is. It's the babysitter, because the movie, right? It's the name of the title. So
Right.
she's got to be at some point she's going to turn. So I figured, yeah, that was probably it's probably been drugged. But the reason that Cole doesn't want to drink it, it's not because he knows the title of this horror film he's in. It's because his girl, his best friend from school, Melanie, they talk about, what do babysitters do when you fall asleep? And Cole said, well, I don't know. I'm always asleep. And so he's intrigued, about what's going on. Melanie says, well, maybe they have an orgy. So he takes out his phone. He doesn't really know what an orgy is, and he Googles orgy. And you see his phone, and they blur out all the screen captures. And you hear, like, moaning and groaning coming from his phone. But so he wants to see what exactly his babysitter does when he falls asleep. So that's why he doesn't take the shot. He's got to stay up to see what happens. Of course, he thinks it's going to be something innocent, like a boyfriend coming over, or maybe a friend coming over, and they just talk. So he wants to see what happens. So as he's texting Melanie, he hears the doorbell go off, and I guess he goes downstairs to see who comes in, and now comes in the cast of characters that are in my mind a highlight. I love these characters. So they're the cohorts in crime with B, right? So we have Max, kind of the football jock. He's a quarterback. Mm-hmm. We have Allison, the aforementioned cheerleader, slutty cheerleader. We have John. John's. How would you describe John? He's not a.
I'm just going to say,
pothead.
I'm going to come right out and say he's the token black dude, and I think that he was meant to be like a token black dude.
Yeah, and he's one of the funniest characters in the movie, by the way. He's got some really good lines. They make up for that tokenness with really great lines. He said some of the funniest things in this movie. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We have Sonia, which is kind of an emo Asian chick. And then we have poor Samuel, the nerdy guy that we saw earlier that B was flirting with.
Yeah. And Cole spies on them from upstairs, from the balcony upstairs, and they're playing Spin the Bottle, which I didn't know Spin the Bottle was still a thing. It was never a thing when I was in high school. Maybe I didn't go to the right parties.
Oh,
but,
yeah, you didn't. I remember playing Spin the Bottle in junior high and high school game. Yeah, like...
Really?
Yeah, when a bunch of us would get together. But it never worked out the way like that game did, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, that game... Well, they're playing Truth or Dare Spin the Bottle, which means whoever the bottle points to, you have to Truth or Dare, and somebody dares B to kiss everybody in the group, and memorably, she kisses Allison, so we have these two beautiful girls literally French kissing each other in front of everybody, and it's extremely effective, and yeah, okay.
It worked on you too, huh?
Yeah, I kind of had a hetero moment. It's really hot.
Yeah, it is. It's so funny when they're because Allison is chewing gum, and at the end of the kiss, B spits the gum out of her mouth and puts it back into Allison's mouth. It's like, oh god. So, and then of course the next person in line is John, and he whips out his chapstick. He's going. He said something like "big and black." He's just so excited, And so she comes up to him, and all she does is licks the side of his face, and it's disappointed.
So gross. I'd rather kiss somebody than lick the side of their face. I think that licking, especially in these COVID times.
Oh, one of the interesting things that she does before B kisses Max, the jock, she quotes a movie, quotes The Godfather.
Oh, yes.
It says, "I know what you did. I know it was you, Fredo," and then kisses him like passionately. And one of the girls say, it's probably Allison, says, "That isn't from Lord of the Rings."
And Cole's upstairs saying it's from The Godfather Part 2.
Yeah, he goes, I love that woman, or I love that girl, or something. And we would too, because that is such... I bet you none of those kids in that ring probably knew what that was from. That was great.
Mm-hmm. It's so cool, but don't think it's too cool because it's about to go completely off the rails because she goes in to sensually kiss Samuel, and they're all standing up.
Well, by the way, can we say Samuel was very kind of apprehensive? Like, he's turned on like the rest of them during the two girls kissing part, but he's like, well, they're all here. I don't want to do it. Like, he was a really kind of what's the word I'm looking for Sam? He's
like a wannabe?
Well, he's not a wannabe. He's a loser. He doesn't fit. Obviously, all the other people are beautiful, fit, attractive, not very smart, but, But Samuel is obviously very smart, but he's very nerdy, not well kept. He's just not the same group of these people. He's not in the same clique. But he's obviously very sincere. He seems to be a nice guy. And he's uncomfortable kissing B in front of all these people. And B's like, just close your eyes. It's okay. Just imagine they're not there. And so she starts to... It's interesting. She kisses everybody differently. Mm-hmm. So B is trying to be a different person for every different person. Kissing them how they want to be kissed, I guess, except for poor John. So she's kissing him, romantically, not sensual like she's doing with Allison, not playful with Max. She kisses Sonia differently. But when she's kissing him, and it's funny because I don't know about you, but my apprehensiveness starts to drop a little. Like, okay, she's just going to give him a nice kiss, and BAM! She whips out these two butcher knives and stabs him in the skull. Surprised me. I wasn't expecting that. That was... I knew something was going to happen to that guy. I knew it was going to happen, but I got lulled into that. I was not expecting it at that time.
And it is a shocker, and it's such a shocker that we actually have a close-up of Cole, his mouth hanging open, and on the screen it actually says, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, that Scott Pilgrim thing. The movie will, when there's things like that, the movie will. It's not. We're not talking about the subtitles. We're talking about the movie is displaying like, what the hell, what the fuck, kind of thing. Like very Scott Pilgrim in that way.
You say Scott Pilgrim, I say Quentin Tarantino, because Quentin Tarantino sometimes would do things like that.
I can't stand him.
But man, I have never seen someone... Okay, she stabs him with two knives in the top of the skull. I have never seen somebody go this way in a movie for so long, because he doesn't die away, and he's like bleeding out, and they take out these goblets, Cup of a Carpenter's, and they're like... they're trying to get the... blood that's flowing
they're all getting blood except for poor John. John's side, he says something like, my side ain't working. He's like tapping it, trying to get the blood to come out.
It's just so fucking bizarre.
And then it just squirts out and just covers him in blood.
And obviously influenced from Evil Dead.
Yes.
There are at least 3 movies the opening shot of this movie, by the way, where he's at the doctor's in the school, and the doctor's going to give him a flu shot, and Cole is pinned up against the wall. The framing of that shot is almost identical to the opening shot in the movie Day of the Dead by George Romero.
Oh, really? Huh.
And there's a scene later on in the movie when Max is chasing Cole, and Max gets Cole and holds him up by his throat. That shot is from Halloween, when Michael Myers stabs the guy on the wall.
Interesting. That reminded me of I haven't seen that film, But it reminded me of the scene in the last Stranger Things season. There was a scene where Billy takes Eleven by the throat and lifts her up just like that. But obviously Stranger Things takes a lot of things away from movies from that time period. So obviously they're referencing. I'm sure the original movie is Halloween. But it reminded me of the Stranger Things thing.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Halloween. Let's see what else.
We'll have to rectify that someday. When can we rectify that? Okay.
So B pulls out this ancient-looking book, and it's, I guess, kind of like the Bible, but for devil worshippers. So, and she's talking about, says something alluding to this will make our dreams come true, make your greatest, fondest wishes come true. And she says, all that's left now is we need to go upstairs for the blood of the innocent. And Cole realizes, that's me.
So what Cole does is so awesome because people in horror movies don't always do this, maybe because they can't or they choose not to. But, and by the way, the shot of Cole getting up and running to his bedroom is, I don't know what you would call the shot, but it's like a fisheye lens of him like looking around. That's from a movie, and I don't know what movie.
Oh, I hate those kind of shots. By the way, you do see them quite a bit, and they seem so out of place. When they go to this kind of, it's like they take a camera and they face it it's aimed at the face of the character, and the character's running around. I always hated those shots. It doesn't fit, takes you out of the film. I hate those so much. Yeah, but
they use it in a lot of reality TV when you have people running around and they'll have a helmet on and then they'll have that camera that's in front of them that's like hanging down in front of their face.
Like in Finding Bigfoot, they use it in that.
Oh, really? You watch Finding Bigfoot?
Of course. I love that.
Okay, all right. I shouldn't make fun of that because actually I am interested in that stuff too. But Cole does the best thing he can. He calls the police and actually completes the 911 call and hangs up. So you're like, well, wait, the police are coming. I'm filing that right here. And he's on the second story, so he can't jump out of the window, but he has a plan. But they're coming. They're coming. So he turns off his lights. He's got his shoes on. He's got to hide him underneath the comforter.
No. So when he's on the call with 911, he goes, I've got to protect myself. And you hear the operator go, no, don't do that. And so he hangs up. He runs to his nightstand, pulls out a pocket knife, and the screen goes, pocket knife. Because that's going to be his weapon. This is a tiny little 2-inch blade. It's going to be his defense. But yeah, I'm sorry. Go on.
And the kids come in, the bad guys come in, and you think that they're going to kill him, but that's not actually the plan. Sonya has a really big fucking
needle
syringe, and they're going to take his blood. Did we mention
at the beginning when he's getting his flu shot, he has a huge fear of needles, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't blame him. I have a fear of blood tests. I'm not afraid of needles, but blood tests freak me out. And that's what they do to him, and he has to do all he can to pretend like he's been drugged out and asleep, because there were indeed drugs in the drink that B gave him earlier, and they don't even hit the vein the first time. Oh God, I'm watching that. It now. I can't. Yeah. I once had a pair of nurses standing over me, and they were talking like I wasn't even there. Like, oh, you've got to do it this way to get the vein this way, and I'm like, I'm here. Hello.
Bedside manner.
Yeah, exactly.
Nurse.
That's when I had sepsis. When my fucking cat bit me on 4th of July, and I ended up in the emergency room the whole time with antibiotics because my cat gave me sepsis.
Fascinating.
Yeah, that's July 4th of 2019 for Sean. And then my grandma's like, "Did you put the cat down?" I'm like, "No, the cat didn't have sepsis.
You put the cat
gave me
down.
sepsis."
Kill the cat. So yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. So he's laying there. Everybody they get the blood and they walk out, and B notices that the window's open because that was Cole's first reaction was to get outside, and that's when he realized, I can't get down there. It's too tall. Somebody accidentally left the window open. Well, B recognizes that even though he's pretending to be asleep or passed out on his bed. So she leaves, and Cole kind of jumps into action. He starts tying a bed sheet around his bedpost, and he's going to drop himself down to safety. Except, B didn't quite leave. She's still there. And, and so he passes out, I guess because of the low blood sugar from them draining him of blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he wakes up tied to a chair downstairs, and they're all standing around him, and Max has no shirt on, and the first thing that he says is, "Why is he shirtless?"
Yeah, and John says, "You're tied up downstairs in front of all of us, and that's the first question you ask?" Yeah, they're all staring at him. They're all in front of him, but Max, the quarterback, has no shirt on. Yeah.
Like, for no reason whatsoever. This is never explained why he has no shirt on. Oh, I suspect, but I'm not sure that the person who wrote this is gay, because the wit and the sarcasm is just so stinging. But they want him to eat a cookie. He doesn't want to eat the cookie because the last thing that B asked him to eat or drink was drugged. But they're... I don't know how to describe the scene. The cops show up.
Well, Sonya force feeds him the cookie so he can get his blood sugar back up.
He does eat the cookie. I'm sorry. Because
they're trying to figure out what he knows. What did he see exactly? As far as B's concerned, he's only witness to them taking the blood. They don't think he's witnessed the murder of Samuel. So they're I guess trying to see what he knows exactly, because it could be easily fixed. If he hadn't witnessed the murder, then they could do something, I guess, so it's not so bad. But
if they think that he didn't see the murder, why do they have him tied up and shit? Like, what are they thinking he's going to think? That confuses me. But
and why was Max's shirt off? That never gets answered.
Yeah. I remember when I told you last week, "Oh, we're gonna watch this." You're like, you pulled it up on IMDb. Oh, a guy with no shirt on, of course. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. But remember, Cole has a pocket knife, bitches. Which it actually says that on the screen. Pocket knife. ... Bitches! Exclamation point.
Because he's going to cut himself. He's cut his way out. And it's funny because Sonya sees, he's so cute, he doesn't realize there's a mirror behind him when we see him trying to cut him his way out. And so he sees that, and he starts cutting even more faster. And Sonya goes, and he's still trying to cut his way out. And they're like making fun of him. Because he's got nothing else he can do. I mean, that's his only option. And of course, the cops show up from the 911
and then things get fucking gory as hell.
Yeah.
Max is holding a fireplace poker. The cops come in, and immediately it's just, okay, let's pull the curtain back now. We're fucking psychos. We have a pact with the devil. We're going to have to kill the cops.
Yeah.
When the cops bang the door down because they think that there's been a home invasion, one of the cops shoots off a gun and basically shoots Allison in the boob.
Right.
And we'll get to that in a moment.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
The other cop is Max puts a fireplace poker directly into his eye, which doesn't kill him at first. He's just sort of like dangling on this fireplace poker until Max goes up and jiggles the fireplace poker around, which obviously, causes the brain damage to kill the cop. I don't know how the other cop dies, but they both are dispatched, no pun intended, very, very quickly.
So when Allison gets shot in the boobie, John exclaims, "Titty gone! Titty gone!" It's so bizarre. He's more concerned about it. And she's there, instead of saying, I've been shot, I'm going to die, she's concerned that she's going to have a deflated titty. That's her. And, and no man is going to be attracted to her because of it. And she laments about the whole thing, about no man's going to want to suck on my nipple, and it's just...
And they're still growing.
They're still growing.
Wait, I want to I want to go back to a line that John says that I'm going to have to say it. I didn't notice it the first time, but one of the cops, John is black, and so he's afraid of, cops. Like, he's the first one that ducks down. And one of the cops is clearly Latino, and he's aiming his gun at John. And John says in Spanish, I can speak Spanish, mi amigo, or what does he say? I can't remember what he says. Black Lives Matter? He says, I'm sorry, my friend, in Spanish. And they have the subtitles for that. I'm sorry, my friend. But what he really does, instead of saying my friend, amigo, he says, I'm sorry, nigga, in Spanish.
Yes. And he does say Black Lives Matter. Yeah.
Yeah, he does say Black Lives Matter at some point. Very topical.
Very topical.
Yeah. That was before 2020, folks. That was before COVID and Black Lives Matter.
And another thing is that, poor John, he's getting sprayed by blood left and right. And so he gets sprayed by blood again by one of the cops. And he's freaking out. He says, I know I got STDs. I got blood on 2 different people. I've got AIDS now. And he just goes.
2 out of 4 people got STDs, and I've been sprayed by 3 of them. I've got AIDS.
They're really funny lines. Yeah.
And what's funny is that the cops' radio is there, and they're like, blah, 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 are you there? What's going on? And B has to basically force, I guess, Cole knows police codes for some reason.
Yeah.
And he's got to tell them, say, 10-4 clear, we're going on a code 7, which means we're okay, we're going to go eat. So interesting that, whatever. That's just a way to, I think that's a way to get the whole cop subplot out of the way so that nobody comes looking for these missing cops, which they do very nicely.
Right. And I mean, but, like you said earlier, in these horror films, it's the victims always do these really stupid things. Like, instead of doing one thing, they run back into the house or something like that, which actually does happen here. But, I mean, so Cole does call the cops. He does call 911. That's the first right thing he did. That typically in these movies they don't do.
Mm-hmm. Or it's usually because they always establish this immediately that there's no cell phone service. So obviously you can't call the cops when there's no cell phone service.
Right.
But what does he do when he escapes from the chair? Does he run outside? No.
He goes upstairs.
He runs upstairs. So Cole, I don't know why you did that.
That was kind of stupid. Yeah. So John takes chase, and in a very Home Alone moment,
he actually says, "This ain't Home Alone."
Right. So I forgot the exact moment, but John falls, and he ends up getting this award. Which is funny because you see the mother fiddling with it at the beginning of the film. Like she's trying to clean it or just get it straight. But he ends up falling up from a second floor stairwell down to this thing. And the thing just pierces his jugular. I mean, he just dies horribly.
And Max says, wow, right through the jugular. Like, no one's, at this point, nobody, even though John is one of the friends, nobody cares that John has died. And also, it's important to note that the black guy is the first to get killed. Well, I mean, the cops got killed. But the first of the
group of friends. Yeah, he is. I didn't think of that.
I'm going to motorboard those titties. Slightly racist, but okay. Mm-hmm. Is copying the way black people talk, is that racist? I mean, like, if you're going to like describe the way they act in a movie,
I don't know.
Tweet me and tell me. Shit, we watch pod, and maybe it depends. I don't know. So what happens next? We have now it just becomes full blown Home Alone horror movie.
Yes. It does.
First place that go ahead, you take.
Oh no, yeah. So Max now gives chase to Cole, and Cole starts climbing down his makeshift bedsheet rope out of his bedroom window, and ends up falling because Max is pulling him back in. And so Cole then runs into the garage, and at this point I'm thinking, well, where are the other killers? And I think what's going on is they're cleaning up the house while Max does the business. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. But I was wondering, why doesn't he run across the street to his friend Miriam? Is it Miriam or Melissa? I can't remember.
Miriam or Melissa? No, it's Melanie. Think of the
Melanie. I'm so
Doctor
sorry.
Who companion, the redhead.
Okay, Mel. Okay, Bonnie Lanford. Okay, maybe I don't want to think about that, but okay, Melanie. But yeah, I was like, and we were watching this, and my partner Tom says, "Well, why doesn't he just run across the street to his friend's house?" But he doesn't do that. No. He runs to the worst possible place he could ever run, and he runs to the crawl space that we saw earlier. That is fucking filled.
Well, hold on, wait. No, he actually runs to the garage. And
that's right.
He finds Samuel's body.
Mm-hmm.
But he also finds a firecracker, and and then he goes into the crawl space. That is
like a giant ass firecracker, like a Warner Brothers firecracker.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's huge. It's called like the Big Dragon or something like that. And he takes that and a lighter and
he's gonna hide. He's gonna hide in there. He's going to wait for somebody to come in. That seems like the worst idea.
Yeah, I would run across the street and bang down neighbors' doors. But what he decides to do is after he finds the body in the garage and gets his supplies. And by the way, there's a great scene where Samuel's body is propped up between the car and the wall, and Cole has to make his way around Samuel's body, and the only way he could do that is by jumping on the hood of the car and like crawling over, which is kind of funny. And so what does he do? He goes to the crawl space that's filled with tarantulas, because that's where you go when you're being chased by psychopathic teenagers. But it's okay, because it provides for a great scene. Tell us what happened, Steve.
So he goes into the crawl space, and Sonya goes in after him, and he hides under a blanket in the back corner, trying to look like just random trash or something. You can't see him, and she gets awfully close to him, but she decides that he must not be in the crawl space, so she begins to leave, and due to some unfortunate circumstances, one of the tarantulas falls into a mousetrap, and she then knows, oh, he's in here with me. And so she turns around, and as she does that, she puts her hands down, and they both go each into a mousetrap, and they break her nails, which she's very angry about. She's like, my nails! Is that racist? Asians being really into nails because they always have the nail salons?
No, I think a lot of girls are into nails. I don't think it's an Asian thing. I mean, if she was doing nails, maybe that might be different.
Well,
I think it would be sexist more than anything. But you know what? It doesn't matter because it's funny.
Yeah, it was very
wrong.
funny.
That was wrong. I shouldn't have said that. It doesn't matter if it's sexist or racist. It's funny. That's not, yeah. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's not funny.
Right.
Like,
so
anyway, I'm not going to get into that right now.
No. So Cole then proceeds to light this huge firecracker and fires at her. Completely misses her. It ends up just going into like some dirt, and she laughs. Allison laughs at him like, "Oh, you missed." So
it's Sonya, by the way, not Allison.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Sonya. And so he runs out, and he ends up screwing the doorway shut so she can't get out. And she's got a knife, and she's stabbing through the grate, trying to stab him. And he gets a can of bug spray and just sprays her over with all these chemicals and fumes. And of course, the firecracker goes off. I'm laughing because this is the moment where I had to watch it at least twice. So the firecracker goes off and explodes, sends him, like 10 feet back, and she's on fire. And you think, oh, she died because there's this explosion, and because she was covered in all these fumes. And after the explosion, you hear, "I'm still alive, motherfucker!" And she blows up. I laughed so hard. I had to watch it again. It was so great.
I didn't notice that until the second time I watched it, that she's still alive. I'm still alive, motherfucker.
Yeah, then you hear this explosion. Oh.
So, okay, and then we have Max. Max. My name is Max. Sorry, that was from something else. So now Max
What's
is
that
there
from?
shirtless outside. It's from Doctor Who. It's from the Christmas episode with the Titanic.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So Max is just standing there and is like, okay, I'm going to chase you now, buddy. I'm going to go for you. And what does Cole do? He throws the bug spray can at him and runs off, at which point he exercises the thing that B told him when someone's chasing you, just curl up into a ball and they'll trip over you and punch him in the dick or kick him in the dick. And he does that. And Max says, yeah, I know what you did. You tried to kick me in the dick, but I've got a really big dick.
And yeah, Cole says, no, you don't. And Max says, that's just hurtful. Then that's when he grabs him by the throat and lifts him up. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just hurtful. Why would you say that? That's mean.
And this is when they hear a noise, and it's actually Jeremy, the bully, throwing eggs at the house. So he's like, Max is like, you're gonna let that kid egg your house? Like, you know, he's all about pride, and he's like, that's disgusting. You gotta, you know, do something. I can't remember what he says to him, but you know, you got to do something about that bully egging your house. You gotta punch him out or something. And I can't. So he like hides in the background. Max hides in the background, and he tells Cole to go bully the bully. Get that bully out of here.
Yeah.
But what Cole says instead to the bully, to Jeremy, is, "You've got to help me. There's these teenagers, and they're killing people, and they're destroying my house, and blah 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 blah." And Jeremy's like, "Fuck off, jerk," and makes him think for a moment that he's going to help him, but just ends up putting literally egg on his face.
Yeah, and then leaves. And I'm thinking, are these people all deaf? Because they're outside. Cole is screaming. Max is screaming, "I'm going to get you." Nobody hears this going on. I mean, it's just... Are they just thinking, oh, that family's just that way? They're very weird.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of shit. The explosion. I mean, please. Wouldn't if you were a neighbor and your neighbor's crawl space exploded, would you at least not look out the window? Somebody has died. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeremy isn't any help, so they end up between Cole and Max. They're up in the incomplete treehouse, where Max says, "I'm not going to let you die without egg on your face," and wipes the egg off of Cole's face and is about to kill him.
Yeah, because he wants to kill him with honor. He's going to give him an honorable death, is what he said, or something like that.
Yeah. But he ends up falling through the floor of the treehouse, and he gets hanged.
Not only that, it's not just getting hung.
Really
his head literally snaps off the spinal column, and it sticks out the tip of the spinal column. It sticks out the tip of his neck. Oh, that's gruesome.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't see that?
I did not see that. I thought he just...
Oh, he's dead from that for sure. Because you keep thinking, oh, these people are just... You know, because you always see people get hung, but they're still alive somehow. There's no way he survived that. I mean, you know, you see the tip of the spinal column that the skull sits on. It goes through the neck, the back of the neck. Because the head's...
I did not notice that. I'm going to look at that right now as we speak.
Okay.
Fun fact. When people are killed with a rope like that, it's always... Oh, yeah, I see it now. You're right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you only see it for a moment, but yeah. When people are killed or executed with a rope like that, it's always called hanged, not hung. So Max may have been hung.
Like Max was well hung, but he was hanged.
Yes, exactly. Hung is like what you do with a coat, or a description of your genitals.
Yeah, extremely long. I'm sorry, extremely large genitalia. Yeah.
Yeah, for a man.
Can a woman be hung?
I don't think you want to be hung as a woman. I don't think you want to be hung. I don't think that the clitoris
or hanged.
Could be.
You don't want either.
Yeah.
Not positive either way.
So I love this next line. So Max is dead, and Cole's like on the ground, and all of a sudden B shoots a gun at him, and Cole's line is, "Oh my God, why do they have guns?"
So
because at this point it's just bonkers.
Yeah. So Cole runs into... I think pretty much they have dispatched everybody except for B, as far as we know.
B and Alice. Well, we think Allison has blood out, but we're not sure. We haven't actually seen her die.
So Cole runs to Melanie's house. All these homes, I would be knocking on doors. I would be trying to wake everybody up. But yeah, Melanie's house is not necessarily next door. He's got to run a couple of houses down and over. So, anyways, she opens the door because she heard the explosion. She heard the gunshots. And so Cole falls into the house, and he's trying to give her a brief what's happening to him. and
I didn't understand where. Go ahead.
No. So there's obviously some kind of. It's weird talking about kids, but kind of a sexual tension between Melanie and Cole. They're best friends, but you can tell that Melanie probably wants something a little bit more.
Yeah, she likes him, but I don't think that he really likes her like that.
Well, no, because he's too interested. He's too infatuated with B. So, but that's no longer the case. So
because
B has followed Cole into Melanie's home, and they're hiding around the house. And as that's going, they end up having a moment together. That's Melanie and Cole, and they end up kind of talking to themselves, and they realize they like each other, and they end up kissing. Not a really innocent first kiss. And Cole decides, I'm going to toughen up. I don't want you to get hurt in this. This is not your fault. I'm going to lead B away from us. And that's what he does.
So that's kind of like the moment that Ash realizes, okay, I got to kill these motherfuckers. And Cole goes back. And by the way, did you notice that Cole's parents had an infatuation with roosters in their decorating? Did you notice that? There's a lot of roosters.
I noticed their
chickens.
I noticed their couch had rooster patterns because it was so ugly. But no, I didn't notice anything else.
Fuck, it was ugly.
What else did they have that?
There is a sculpture of a rooster or a chicken on the dining room table. There's a couple others. There's a painting of a chicken. It's just like, okay, are we going with a theme? Are we a furniture store? Really? But Cole returns.
You think there's a meaning behind that, by the way, or?
I'm trying to think of it, and all I can think of is cock, chicken. Are they implying that these people are chicken? I don't know. Oh. I think maybe the set designer was just having some fun by putting a lot of cock on the screen without actually.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Cole goes back to his home, and he sees Amanda kind of passed out in one of the chairs in the corner of the.
Oh no, it's Allison.
What did I say?
You said Amanda.
Oh, sorry. The boos are starting to kick in, so the names are starting to blend together. But Allison is, so she seems to be dead. He goes up and he sees if he can hear her breathing. One, I would not go that close to her. I don't know what I would do, but I would not get so close that she could grab me.
I think it's funny that he pokes her with his finger on the shoulder, like, are you dead? Okay, you're dead. But she's not dead. He goes into the kitchen and she jumps on him. And they have a little wrestle on the floor. And he stops this by poking her in the wound in her breast.
No, he's punching her, the boobie that's been shot. He's punching it like a punching bag. like kind of like what you would imagine Popeye would do, like that kind of, fist over fist.
And she's like, "Oh my god!" And they just stop fighting, and they have a monologue. I can't believe you punched my boob. You're probably up there all night long, jerking off, thinking about me and how beautiful I am.
Oh yeah, I hate her so much.
And he's like, he decides that he's gonna like make friends with her. Like, oh, so why are you doing this? Oh, I wanted to be a journalist. Really, you could really be a good journalist.
You would be great. You're so smart.
Pretty.
Yeah,
you're smart too. Yeah. And then that's great. And then she's like, "No, enough of this shit. I need to kill you." And she gets up. She's gonna kill him. And then boom.
Well, hold on. The whole thing about the butcher knife. You totally.
Oh shit! That's right. God damn it.
Yeah. So they run around this kitchen island. They're in the kitchen, by the way, and Cole remembers, as does the audience, that butcher knife is in the dishwasher, which is the side of the
Yeah.
kitchen he's on. So
were you thinking it too, or you were like, okay, this is where you're going to... Oh, they actually show us a flashback of the dad putting the knife in the dishwasher.
Yeah. So he opens up the dishwasher, and it's not there. And then, instead of continuing the fight, we go across town to the Hyatt where the parents are staying. It's because we find out what happened to the knife.
This is my laugh out loud moment. This was so clever. Like, mom and dad in the bed at the Hyatt. They've got the bathrobes on. He's watching TV. She's reading, and she's giving him a hand job underneath the covers.
Oh, violent hand job. But they're just having a normal conversation while she's doing that. She goes, "Did you put the butcher knife in the dishwasher?" And he goes, "Oh yeah." And this whole time you see her just jerking him off under the covers. And it's played to comedy. It sounds horrible, but it's played to be funny. And she goes, "Well, don't do that again. You put the knife back in the butcher block." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And then we go back. We go back to the fight at the house.
And she's pulling the knife out of the butcher block, and that's when her head is blown off, when she's about to kill him.
Right. B shoots her with the rifle she found, and blows her head clear off. So we find out.
I'm not sure why B shot Allison, but
because I think everything's been fucked up, and I think she legitimately does care for Cole. She feels bad. I mean, like the whole time, instead of, she drugs him to use his blood instead of, violently killing him.
Yeah, she's not gonna. She doesn't.
But
her plan was not to kill him.
Yeah, I think she needs his blood, but she doesn't want to hurt him. In the long run, right? So I think after all, everybody's dead. Everybody's died except she's the last one, and she did save Cole. And I think she's trying to figure out maybe if we could just run away together. Kind of. At least that's what she offers him. But Cole is oh, go ahead.
And she even says, "Well, maybe I'll just start over in another new town or something like that." And they have this conversation in the kitchen while Cole is threatening to burn up her devil Bible. He's like, "You're just like John Hammond, Mad Men. You do all this stuff, all this nice stuff, and then we find out at the end that he's married." And she's like, Did you just ruin Mad Men for me?"
And me.
It's been out for a while.
Yeah.
By the way, that's the first episode of Mad Men. You find he's screwing around with some chick, and then he goes home, and you find out that he's happily married. That's just the first episode. That's the extent of what I watched Mad Men that I watched. By the way, folks, if you enjoy Mad Men, God bless you. But I just can't watch so much drinking and smoking in the workplace and misogyny. I get enough of that myself. So go if you want to watch classic like HBO Showtime. Go watch Sopranos. That's nice and wholesome. Or
sure sounds like
6 feet under. 6 feet under. That's pretty good. So,
but yeah, so
Amazon Prime. It's all on Amazon Prime.
So Cole ends up. He asks, like, well, "What are you going to do? Are you going to find a new kid? Like, we run away together, but what's going to happen?" And she basically admits he'll be doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that tells Cole all he needs to hear, and he sets fire to the book and throws it onto the ground. He freaks out, is trying to put the book out because it's an old leather-bound Necronomicon from the Evil Dead. I mean, it's just going up quickly.
And I have a theory, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
The way that she's trying to put the fire out after he puts her book on fire,
Mm-hmm.
I have a theory that is based off of Kathy Bates at the end of Misery, when he burns the script, and she's like, "No, Paul, don't." But I didn't realize that until later. But yeah.
So next thing we have, Cole leaves the house, runs out of the house with B trying to put the book out, put the flames out, and Queen's "We Are the Champions" starts to play as he's running towards Melanie's home. He gets into the douchey dad's muscle car, finds the keys in the visor. Who puts their keys in the visor?
Exactly, especially when you love your car that much.
Yeah.
By the way, where is the dad during all of this? Was he asleep in the house?
It's explained by Melanie that he went to go out with a Protestant, which we understand is actually a confusion for the word prostitute.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Oh, Sean, shit. Okay, that's
So he's
funny
out
then.
having
Okay.
time with a prostitute, not a Protestant. Anyways, so he revs up the car again. We are the champions, blaring out. He drives the car and he drives it into his home because B is still in the living room trying to put the fire out. And the living room's in the front of the home, and he runs her over. Goes careening into the house and pins B onto the carpet, and she starts to bleed out. And so he gets out of the car, and they kind of have this last one-on-one. He finally explains to her, I loved you. How could you have done this? You were the one I always wanted to be. And they have this kind of one-on-one as she's just slowly fading out. Any thoughts on that scene from you?
Yeah, I thought it was real. I love the Queen music, and obviously he's afraid of driving, so this is his first time behind the wheel, and he just careens out of that driveway and right into his house. It's so hilarious while Queen is playing, and he says to her as she's dying, he plays the 5 versus 1 game with her, and he's like, "Oh, it would be."
Admiral Amidala from Battlestar Galactica. It would be Data from Star Trek.
Oh, yeah.
It would be... the Predator from the Predator movies.
Yep, the Predator.
And then it would be...
he said,
go ahead.
"You and me." And then she says something like, "But I'm the big bad," or something like that. Right? And then she dies.
Mm-hmm.
And cut to, like, an hour later, the cops, the firemen are there. What's her name's dad is there. Is like, "What the fuck with my car?"
Yeah, he's worried about his car, his beautiful car. You had one job to protect the car.
And Jeremy the bully is there with his friends, and they're like, "What the fuck? Let's get out of here." And Mom and Dad show up.
Yeah, and the funny thing with Jeremy, though, let's hold on. So the punks, obviously, not Cole has gotten their respect, except for Jeremy. And they're like, "Dude, yeah, Cole just, like, killed a bunch of people or whatever." And, like, they're really impressed by that. And Jeremy's like, "Yeah, whatever. Come on, guys, let's go." And they don't listen to him. They let him walk off by himself as they give him respect. And, by the way, we know the name, Jeremy named his bicycle Cindy for some reason. He's got a name.
Oh, that's right.
And so
that's
the
right.
parents come racing down the street, and they hit Cindy the bicycle and destroy it, trying to get to Cole as fast as possible. And Jeremy's just having a bad night. Well, he deserves it. He's an asshole.
Yeah, he's an asshole. And then I guess the movie ends with Mom and Dad running up to Cole and saying, "Are you okay?" And he says, "Mom and Dad, I don't need a babysitter anymore."
Right.
And then
so
cut to
badass.
credits.
And he gets a girl. He gets Melanie. I honestly thought Melanie's father, was going to get it, but no. Maybe in the sequel.
No.
Have you seen the sequel?
I watched it last night.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't help myself. I was like, okay, Tom went to bed. I'm going to watch the sequel, and I enjoyed it.
When did
Not
the
as much
sequel
as the
come
first-
out?
as
Did
this
it come
one.
out this year or last year?
This year. It was just released on Netflix like maybe 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The Babysitter Killer Queen. And I you know what? I can tell you what it's about.
No. I haven't seen it. Don't.
No.
I know. I don't want you to tell me
okay.
anything.
All right. I'm just going to say.
No.
Did you watch the trailer for this before you watched it for this, by the way?
I want to say I did, yeah.
Okay, because the trailer kind of reveals a little bit too much. If you go in... Okay, I want to just shout out to the podcast, The Film Flamers. I would never have watched this. Like, never.
No,
never.
I wouldn't either.
If I
alone.
hadn't heard that... Yeah, if I hadn't heard them talk about it and say how good it was and how funny it was, so, like... totally random. I'm like, let's watch this, and I watched it, and I'm like maybe 3/4 of the way in. I'm like, okay, well, this is going on the list for the podcast.
Okay, well, before you continue, let's go ahead and review it, because that sounds like we were headed.
Okay.
So,
all right.
I decided to pick the number 5 out of this, because that's how many in the hypothetical, how many people would you have in your spaceship to save the universe or the galaxy or whatever? So 1 out of 5, and then after that, I want to hear what your top 5 are. Sci-fi characters that you would put in your spaceship to save the galaxy.
Oh, okay. All right. Who goes first?
You.
Okay. Do you want me to rate it first, or do you want me to?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay. Well, my 5 top characters to put in a spaceship to save the universe would be Ash from The Evil Dead, because he's cool. Ripley, because she's cool under pressure, even if she's singing My Lucky Star. I would say also Batman. Which Batman? Why, the Michael Keaton Batman, of course.
Yeah.
And I got 2 more. Shit, I'm under pressure. Under pressure, dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 under pressure.
So the song Under Pressure. Oh, David Bowie? He's kind of a sci-fi character.
Oh my God, of course. I know who. It would be the 10th Doctor. And he would have Rose with him. And the big evil that they're...
Okay.
That's 5 total. So Ripley, Batman, the 10th Doctor, Rose, and somebody else that I forgot to mention. Or that I forgot that I said.
You said Ash, Batman, Ripley, the 10th Doctor,
that's right,
and Rose.
Ash. Yeah. And the big baddie would be the villain from Torchwood, Children of Earth. The evil being that sucks the essence out of children in order to continue surviving.
Ooh, that's creepy.
Yeah, it is. It is really fun. You've never seen that. You got to see that. I know Torchwood is like so 1990s, but it's or so 2000s. Man, okay. When did that come out? 2000? I don't know. So then I have to rate this movie. Like you're inclined to look at things like, I don't know, like really perfect horror movies. Like for me, it would be The Shining or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and like those are automatic 5s. Okay. So I'm hesitant to give this a 5 because it's not going to be my favorite horror movie of all time. But on the other hand, I think that it kind of deserves to be a 5 because it delivered in every way possible that was promised. Like, everybody in this is good. There's not a bit of bad writing, and the first half of the movie completely sets up the second half. I don't know. Oh my God, I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 5. I really liked it. I love this movie. I love the gore. I love the humor. I love the fact that this movie knows exactly what it is, and it's playing with you the whole fucking time, like with the knife. And we get that beautiful scene when he goes for the knife because we know, and they give us the jerk off scene in the hotel for 10 seconds. That's beautiful. That's genius.
Yeah. It takes you out, like what, like as soon as you realize when Cole realizes the knife isn't where the audience last saw it. Let's explain that. So let's jump to the parents real quick.
Yeah,
have a 30-second dialogue and go back. Yeah,
I've never seen that before. That's ingenious. The
whole time,
original.
The mother giving a violent hand job to the father while he's just laying there watching Mad Men on his laptop.
And they have this, and it's funny because Cole and B have this conversation. He's like, "Oh, I think my parents are going to get divorced," and she's like, "Well, why do you have to worry about that?" But they're not going to get divorced. They're fine. They just, that's what middle-aged people do.
Really? Okay.
By the way, there was kind of an in-credit sequence involving a fireman who goes into the house.
Oh yeah, there's one last jump scare. Yeah, so don't tell anybody anything. But yeah, just watch it after the initial credits. There's something hidden.
But everything, there's not a single time in this movie where it like lags or anything. Like even the sequence between B and Cole when she's babysitting him is great, and nothing is really happening there. So I'm just going to give this movie a 5. It's not my favorite movie of all time, but for what it is it is fucking perfect. It's really, really good. I mean, and you can tell that this person that wrote it and directed it really love horror. There's so many nods to different horror movies, and that's all I got. I have nothing but love for this movie. So you go ahead.
Okay, so I guess I'll go over my top 5 who I'd want in a spaceship together. So I would want Obi-Wan Kenobi. I will have a doctor, but not the 10th. I'll have the 12th Doctor, Peter Capaldi. Well,
okay,
not my favorite run of the series. One of my favorite portrayals of the Doctor, because he's kind of cold and calculating. I really like Capaldi's characterization of the Doctor. Spock from Star Trek.
Okay, all right.
The T-800.
I thought you meant maybe Dr. Spock.
No, not the baby doctor. No, I wouldn't do me any good. I mean, because he's logical. It would be good to have that kind of that emotionless, impartial thinking on your side, right? The T-800 from the Terminator movies, because you need that muscle, that unstoppable, force that would continue going on and on and on. And then this is another character you're not going to know at all. Roy Fokker.
From Meet the Fockers?
No, from Robotech.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know who that is.
It was an 80s cartoon about these airplanes that could transform into these there were Valkyries that could transform into these robots. It was awesome. I loved it. I still love that cartoon. I bought the series on DVD. It's so great. Because he's an ace pilot and doesn't know when to give up. I love it. So those would be my 5. So for the film itself, I loved it. I was kind of.
I could tell by the way that you were. Yeah.
When you said The Babysitter,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Last week, I'm like, okay, what's this going to be about? It's going to be something stupid. And I remember looking at, I don't know if it was the trailer or screen captures with the guy without the shirt. I'm like, oh, geez, it's going to be a teenage angst kind of thing. But the pacing, yeah, you're right. There's no time that's wasted. There's no point where the movie's like, you think it's ending, and then another jump scare, and you think it's ending, another jump scare, and it's like, that's old. I hate that so much. Like, I always want to get to the end and enjoy the ending. This movie really doesn't do that. It does have a final jump scare, but it's 10 seconds long after the credits, right? Or it's mid credits. The humor, I thought it was great. I loved when the movie seemed to be aware of itself. Not the characters, but the movie was aware of itself. The characters never broke the fourth wall by talking to the audience. That never happened. But there were just moments where the movie seemed to be self-aware of itself, if that makes sense. And it was played for humor. I like the people that they brought in. Max, I thought was great. Kind of this jock. At one point, you think, is he siding with Cole now? Or are they friends? Like, what's happening? The Asian girl. Is it Allison? What I've heard.
Sonia.
Sonia.
Sonia is the Asian girl, and Allison is the cheerleader.
Yeah. Well, Allison won. Yeah, funny as a cheerleader. She's your atypical cheerleader. Instead of being the one that's usually killed, she's the killer. But she's just so bad at it. And then Sonia, how she dies, I love that. Like I said, I had to watch her death multiple times. It was so funny.
Sonya is a real badass. Like, she's the biggest badass out of the whole group, maybe except for B.
Well, I thought Max was going to be the biggest. When the chase was on, I figured each character was going to have their turn, right, to go after him. And I knew that when Cole had to go up against Max, that was going to be the biggest. That was going to be the hardest, because he's a jock. He's stronger. He's faster. There's no way he can beat him. So I was curious how he's going to dispatch with Max. I liked the comeuppance with the bullies. I thought that was great. Played in. I was kind of curious when that was going to happen. It was a great coming of age film. It was just full of great moments. It was funny when it needed to be funny. It was bloody and gory when it needed to be. And those two things I would imagine would be hard to kind of mix together.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Yeah, you're right.
But I really love this movie, and I unapologetically give this 5 out of 5. I want to watch it again, and I want to see the sequel. That's why I don't want you talking about it, because I really want to see it. And I know from looking at the on IMDb, some of the characters return.
Yes,
so,
that's the one thing you should know and be prepared for. You know, Sonya, Max. No more. I watched it while I was drunk last night, so I don't remember a lot about it. But
I want, and I felt like there were moments in this movie that they were setting up for a possible sequel, because there were times when Cole went outside after talking to Melanie and getting his kiss from her. He goes outside. He's calling B out, but there's a time where we don't know what B is doing, because the very next scene he's dealing with Allison. So there are moments where we're not really sure what the killers are up to, and I'm kind of curious. I imagine that we're going to find that out in the sequel. But I really enjoyed this film. It was a lot of fun. I don't know. It was just a perfect mix. And if you're looking for, it's not going to be the best slasher film ever. It's not the best coming of age movie. It's not the funniest movie. But it's got a little bit of everything, and but all these pieces put together make a really entertaining film. And when I say really, I mean it's probably one of the most entertaining films I've seen in recent memory. It just hit on so many levels. I loved it. So 5 out of 5.
And I feel like, oh my gosh, more people need to see this. I am totally going to recommend this, because I was at lunch on Friday with some people from work. I'm like, oh, we're going to watch, I'm going to watch The Babysitter. What? Babysitter, a horror movie on Netflix. That just sounds like it's a stupid slasher movie.
Was this a Netflix original, by the way? Because it had the little
Yes.
N. Okay.
Yeah, it had the red N. So it's on Netflix. It will be on Netflix forever, as is the sequel. So yeah, this is the first Netflix horror movie I think I've brought up. So I would never have watched this but for a recommendation from a podcast.
Neither would I, because
go ahead.
Oh no, just from the title alone, I would not have gotten my attention.
Yeah, and I'm really surprised that a movie like this wasn't released in the theater.
Yeah.
Because it would have gotten more praise. It would have gotten more critics' attention. It was just released on Netflix, wasn't advertised like something like Stranger Things or The Umbrella Academy, and that was it. But yeah, this film deserves more critical praise. So this podcast episode is a love letter to The Babysitter. 10, 10, 10 across the board. We give it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you this: do you want to watch this film again with your family?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Cool.
This may be what we watch on Halloween.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Now to my favorite part of the episode.
What's that?
The part where you tell us what we're watching next.
Okay, so this is a film that did get a theatrical release. I always wanted to see it. I remember when I saw the trailer at the movie theater, when there was such a thing as a movie theater. And it kind of grabbed my attention, and I never saw it. I don't think it got very good reviews, but suffice to say, it's on Netflix. It stars Mila Kunis, Channing Tatum. It's directed by the Wachowski sisters, not the brothers. They're now sisters. It's called Jupiter Ascending.
Jupiter Ascending. Jupiter Ascending. I have never heard of this film.
I've never seen it, so this is a great opportunity to watch it.
Okay, all right. You never know. This might be the next... what was the name of that film? The comedy sci-fi that you, Dark Rising. What was the name of that? That I enjoyed way more than I thought I would.
The one that we reviewed?
Yeah, it was with the Hitler on a
T-Rex. Yeah, that was Iron Sky.
Iron Sky.
Yeah.
The last race or the coming race. Yes.
I think this will be a little bit more serious.
Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, we need something serious. And, we are in October, by the way, obviously. Well, if you're listening to this in, 2022, we're not you may not be in October, but we have a plan, Steve and I, to sort of... I don't know if you can do this with sci-fi movies, but you can do it with horror movies, that for every holiday, I'll try to select something that is for that holiday. For instance, a horror movie that is set at Halloween time. Unfortunately, Halloween is not on Netflix. And then next month, a horror movie that is set during Thanksgiving time, which I found one. And I'm going to be so glad when we talk about it. And then a horror movie that's set during Christmas, because we're in that holiday season. I don't know if that will necessarily carry over into January and February, although it could. I could make it happen. But the ordinary months like March, April, and May, fuck those months. I hate those months. That's when you take tests and shit. So we're going to have a little bit of that coming up. I'm not going to say any more than that, other than, Steve, you will be mildly pleased.
You think?
I think that you will enjoy, or you will enjoy talking about the things that I have chosen. So I've never planned this ahead in a podcast. So all right.
That was fun. Need to do more
that
of
was
these.
extremely fun. Watch The Babysitter. And if you were listening through this and you haven't watched the movie yet, fucking, go watch it.
Definitely.
We haven't done it justice. And until then, say goodnight, Steve.
Good night, everyone. Until next time.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for listening to Shit We Watch on Netflix. If you have a comment or question for the hosts, or you just want to follow us on social media, you can do so by finding our Facebook page, or you can follow us on Twitter at ShitWeWatchPod. Also, if you've been enjoying the show, please leave us a positive review on Apple Podcasts. Until next time, adios.
And the Oscar goes to...
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 Hi, my name is Sean, and I am the co-host of the Best Picture podcast. Each season, my co-host Eric and I randomly select a year and talk about the Best Picture nominees of that year, with each episode dedicated to a different movie. Did the Best Picture really win? Were there any overlooked movies? Was anything nominated that probably shouldn't have been? Listen to us and find out. Look for us wherever you can get fine podcasts.